From the Post-Millennial. Multi-millionaire celebrity Rainn Wilson slammed for smearing Oliver Anthony over populist anthem. I don't know that he really smeared him, but boy, do I love this. Rainn Wilson, you guys know him, you know him, love him. He was in The Office, right?
Yeah, he played Dwight Schrute.
That's right.
Yeah.
He said, if I were writing a song about rich men north of Richmond, I wouldn't talk about obese people on welfare. I'd sing about CEOs who make 400 times their average worker's salary, up from 50 times 30 years ago, and corporations that pay zero taxes and offshore tax shelters for billionaires. Let me just pause right there.
And no one would listen to it. So
Rainn Wilson, you're an ultra-rich Hollywood celebrity type. I don't think this song was written for you. I think this song was written for the working class guy who's expressing this discontent with a broken system. And guess what? If he wrote the song as you described it, I don't think it'd be number one. I don't think he'd have the biggest song in the world right now. I don't think he'd have debuted as one of the only people ever to debut on their first ever single charting at number one. Clearly, you are wrong.
I think that Chris Anthony, I'll call him Oliver Anthony. That's his stage name. It's Chris Lunford is his actual name. But he mentions the bureaucrats in that song at some point. I don't remember.
The song's about them. It's called Richmond North of Richmond.
He also talks about people that are getting obese on welfare, which is a phenomenal point because you can buy Pepsi with food stamps. You can buy
candy and chocolate.
Crappy shit. Like, that's so bad for people.
It is.
So let me just point this out. When Oliver Anthony says, if you're 5'3" and 300 pounds, taxes shouldn't be buying your fudge rounds. Rainn Wilson doesn't get this. He is the fat, effeminate man with liberal sensibilities who's advocating for lazy individuals to leech off a system for which the working class work and pay for. And it is the overwhelming majority of them who do it. And when he says, yes, but if the billionaires paid their taxes, yes, well, if the billionaires paid their taxes, it would barely account for any of the tax base. Right. This is the lie that crackpots like Rainn Wilson and these other far-left extremists push to convince you to allow them to gut the system and steal from you. It's the billionaires who are at fault. Let's do the math. If you were to tax, I love this meme. If you taxed every billionaire at 100% and took all of their money, it would account for a very small percentage of the actual tax expenditures, and it would last you only a few months. Yeah. What really funds the system is that if you've got 300 million people and you take $1 from them every day, you get $300 million per day. Yeah. 3 million. So you're talking about a couple $1 billion per week, 2 point some odd. You're talking about billions per month. It doesn't matter how much in cash the billionaires actually have. Most of their billionaire assets are in hard assets. They can't actually liquefy, not easily. So, Oliver Anthony is correct. He's sitting there saying his paycheck is almost nothing. The dollar's worthless. And there's some 5'3", 300-pound person eating fudge rounds off of his hard work and labor. And then Rainn Wilson's like, well, why aren't you complaining about billionaires? Bro, Rainn, you are exactly what you describe. Yeah. It's the rich who are the problem. Yes, you. Ultra wealthy, fat liberals voting to gut the salaries and the payments of the working class to then promise to ignorant, lazy people that if they keep voting for you, you'll give them free stuff.
Yeah. It's wild to see people like Hassan Piker talking about what he talks about. Yeah, see him say the stuff he says, and he's in a mansion in L.A. It's like, dude, come on.
I think that Oliver Anthony makes a phenomenal point talking about these people that are sick on welfare. Maybe he's annoyed that he's paying for it, but also if we're going to fix society, it's going to be from the ground up. And if people at the ground are sick, then they're not going to be able to fix society. So it's a big problem. Eat healthy, get your mind right, get your family right, then get your society right.
It's a system that perpetuates itself, though. Imagine being on welfare again, eating food that makes you sick. You're then become dependent on the healthcare system. I mean, it's the whole. I don't know. It ripples out. So.
And then when they want to give someone,
I don't know how literal that is so much as seems to me like a metaphor. Again, I haven't listened to the song though. So.
Oh, you haven't heard it yet?
No, I mean it's fine. It's
short. It's like 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes long, or 3 minutes long.
I still think it's weird that he's like, if I were gonna write a song, I would write it completely different.
Then write the damn song.
Do it exactly.
If I was gonna be in a comedy, it would be way better than. I would have looked in a different direction than you looked, Rainn, in that one scene when you were talking to Jim. I would have looked to the left, and yeah, your posture was good, but it wasn't that good. I would have had a little bit better posture. I'm just kidding, man. Get out here, help me make this movie, bro. And work it out with Tim, because I love you, Rainn. Come on, you're a spirit, man. Let's do this.
I think a lot of people have affection for Rainn Wilson because he was sort of unusual. His character on The Office is such a big deal and so interesting, and then he himself has kind of an unusual life. But this, like, well, if I had written a song, I would have attacked someone else, and therefore yours is bad. Like, obviously, this song is popular and hitting a chord, and if you want to write a different song, great, do it. But don't tear down that the points that he's making out are resonating with people. In fact, humble yourself and take away that people are really feeling a connection to this. Maybe you are not aware of something that you should open your eyes to.
I think
he's playing at Blue Ridge Rock Festival.
Oh, I think we went there.
We went there last year.
That's a great festival.
That was one of the best I've ever been to.
Yo, those stages are awesome.
Slipknot, or not Slipknot, sorry, Guar.
Guar played, Adelaide, Jack Black and Kyle Gass, Tenacious D.
Yo,
of course, Adelaide of Sway. They had us, got us backstage.
They tweeted out special guest Oliver Anthony. Man,
oh, that's gonna be lit. We should go.
When he's gonna have like when he plays, that's gonna have the biggest crowd.
I hope they headline that because that'll be really good.
Wow.
Does he have a full band now? I guess he's got to kind of whip the
I
band
thought
together.
he put out a statement that was like, I am very excited about this. Thank you for your support. Also, I don't feel like I'm quite a good enough musician to like take on all of these things. Like, there's an element that he is trying to like deliver at a maximum level to people who are supporting him, which I respect.
Same thing with merchandise too. He put out a tweet that essentially said, I want to do things right. I don't want to just go to Chop Shop. So be patient.
And he's working with like a small family owned or like a local company.
Yeah,
the music will stay on the test of time, so there's no rush.
Yeah, it's cool.
Although the iron is hot right now, so it's good to hit it.
You don't need to be the best musician ever. This is the biggest mistake I hear from young musicians that I've experienced in my life, and it actually translates to almost every industry. Yeah. So when I was younger, I played a show. I played a bunch of shows. Played a lot of shows actually, and I was like middle lineup, whatever it's called. I wasn't the headliner. I wasn't the opening act, and I had the room packed. It was like 150 seats or whatever. I ended up making a couple $100. I was super excited. I was like, wow. Most of the songs that I wrote were just like 4 chords, relatively basic, and then I would sing. The headlining performance was one of the most musically beautiful songs I've ever heard, and people left the room. Yeah, and the reason is, it's what we call music for musicians. Oliver Anthony wrote music for people, and people want to hear that music. And then you get these musical theorists who are like, here's how you write a good song, because they're trying to impress musicians. That's cool. No, by all means, like, make the best music ever made. Arpeggiated guitar, like really cool stuff, and really great lyrics that are really impactful. Or write a song for the masses that the regular people resonate with, that speaks to them, and you are exactly what a good musician is. I'll put it this way. The best ice cream in the world. What does that mean? Does it mean like you should consume it because it's good for you, or does it mean it tastes great? Because this is what I would always tell my friends. I knew a guy played in a band and it was like weird experimental stuff, and he kept talking about how big it was going to be, and I was like, do your thing, man. But I'm just going to tell you, you're making like asparagus ice cream. Some people may really, really like asparagus ice cream. It's experimental, man. We've never seen this before. Most people just want chocolate, Yeah. So figure out what that mass appeal is if you're trying to be a famous musician. If you're just trying to be a musician because you like music and you like the art, more power to you. But don't act like you're going to be the biggest. So this is what I would say to Oliver Anthony, man. You are the best musician because you wrote a song that people want to hear. It's all that matters.
It's also the way he sings it. You mentioned resonation. Right. Like if it resonates, and that's a literal vibrational resonance that your voice produces in other human beings. Like you vibrate their bones when they say, that song resonated with me. It's because it actually literally produced resonation. So the voice, I mean, it's so lost in the modern age, unfortunately, and I want it to be recovered, this text communication crap. I mean, you want to talk about why is there a degradation in society in any way? I think it stems from that people are texting each other. 30 years ago, we would only speak to each other about, so you could resonate.
There was phone, but and the phone loses a little bit, but I agree with you. I think the internet has destroyed community. And
particularly text chat.
Yes, right, with Twitter and short text too, because people I love this. TMZ, I think it was TMZ. No, somebody wrote an article where they were like, Kid Rock is slammed, might have been Newsweek, over drinking Bud Light. And like with some even claiming it was treason. And then they showed my tweet of all caps treason, which was clearly sarcasm. But
no, Tim, you're always
went right over
serious.
their
They don't care that it's sarcasm.
No.
They're just like, wow, we can sell this fake outrage. Anybody who did a modicum, a small amount of research into my tweets and histories knows that I did not literally think, like, there's, I don't care, Kid Rock drank this thing.
Makes me wonder
but they get clicks.
if Rainn Wilson had been able to say the words of what he typed, if there's a way that I would have understand what he was saying and be like, no, I get it. I get what you're saying. Yeah. And it would even be inspirational for Oliver Anthony to hear him say those words out loud when in text, it just looked like whiny bitch text.
I think text can be sort of disruptive to the way flow or, intonation would yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Would deliver a message. I will say in defense of writing, there are times in our history where we've relied on like letters and written communication, and because you knew that you wouldn't get the speed that we now have, you put a lot more thought into it, right? Like think of like some of the best love letters written of all time, or poetry, or things that we did in the past. I mean, even like the Federalist Papers, right? People spent time thinking about what they were writing in a way that we don't do now because everything is so fast. Not that Twitter can't be incredibly effective for delivering messages, but it's just a different approach to something that we have become accustomed to.
I was chatting with my girlfriend, and there was a day that we were having just kind of a subtle argument or whatever, and we were texting. And I normally will not text anything. If there's a problem emotionally, it's verbal, or I'll peacefully, I'll wait until I see you and talk to you about it. But anyway, we typed, and then like days went by, things were resolved, and I went back in that chat, and for whatever reason, I saw the old messages, and it started to work me up again. Like it out of context, it was the past. It has no place in my memory anymore. We already resolved it, but it's still there in text. And I'm like reading it and thinking like, oh, did she mean that when she typed it? Well, and then these other emotions, I'm like, what am I doing?
But
I'm
because
like,
you've resolved the argument, you have to let it go.
yeah, it should have been like a memory of a communication. It should be gone in my memory now, but because it's literally in text, I still have a copy of it. That's unnecessary and probably very, very bad for brain.
I've heard other couples say that when they have a problem, they like to, I knew this one couple that would email each other and be like, when I talk to you face to face, I'm kind of dominated by my emotions. So when I can sit down and write you a thoughtful and respectful email about whatever's bothering me, I actually find it easier to resolve. I think that there's a place for both. But I think we are going for speed and therefore stripping away kind of specific and descriptive language, which helps us understand what the message is behind our written word.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.